Hey, hey, hey. How are you, everybody? It's Dr. V, and I'm back with your your weekly Do I Ever Cross Your Mind reading. This is for some insights around what's going on with your counterpart. What are they thinking of? Do they think of you? You know, sometimes we just want to know, are we even on their minds, or are we all just creating this whole scenario in our heads? So we're going to go ahead and jump into that energy. Thank you all to my new subscribers, those of you who have liked, shared, commented, etc. I love you all so much. If you'd like to book a private reading, all of the information on how to do that is in the description box below. And so I'm going to kind of just freewheel this reading. I'm starting off with the Phantasmagoria deck. It just spoke to me and I just am listening. So the first question is, do they miss me? So we've got the Queen of Knives. It's the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is kind of the queen that I think Sherry from the No Fucks Given Crew Tarot, NFGC Tarot, calls her the Queen of No Fucks Given. And that's pretty accurate. The Queen of Knives is just, the Queen of Swords is just kind of like, she's not here for anybody's shit. The Queen of Swords is just gonna, cut things out if necessary, but not in a mean way. This isn't like somebody who's just like swinging a sword around just for shits and giggles. This is somebody who is like cutting things out that are unnecessary and things that are not serving any longer. And so someone who is in this really strong perception, really honest, has some emotional clarity, is kind of really seeing the forest for the trees. So what I'm getting from this is that finally they're starting to see things for what they are. Look at them. The Lovers in reverse. And then the Ace of Grails in reverse. Wow. So do they miss you? Hell, the freak, yes. So we've got the Lovers in reverse. The Lovers in reverse is like, what the energy that came through immediately was that this energy of someone having made a choice. Because the Lovers are about having made a choice. There's a choice that needs to be made. That's one of the primary meanings in the Lovers card. It's like that there's options, there's decisions that need to be made. It's like something needs to be done, something needs to happen. And so in this reading, because it's in reverse, it's saying like there's this lack of unity. It's like there's this feeling of not feeling complete, incompleteness. There is something that there's a reconciliation that needs to happen. There's some kind of peace that needs to be struck. It's like they may have made some difficult choices in the past, and now they're looking at it and they're like, yeah, I made some tough choices, but did I make the right choice? Did I do the right thing? Did I, they're feeling this separation. They're really feeling like they made a decision. They did some things and they want to come back, and there's a sense of like they're recognizing that they're not whole. Without your presence in their life. And now I want to say that I'm sitting here in my mind putting like an asterisk, a caveat here, because part of the lesson and part of the growth in this is learning how to be in unity alone, to not necessarily have to have the physical presence of our counterpart. And so I'm definitely not saying that I'm not trying to encourage people to say that you're going to be incomplete if you're not in physical connection with your counterpart. What I'm saying is that they're feeling your absence, okay? They're feeling that sense of, I don't feel complete without this person. Now, as people grow and transform spiritually, that could shift. So then we have the Ace of Grails in reverse, which is, again, someone who's feeling just emotionally exhausted. They feel the sense of loss. They're not happy. They feel disappointed. They feel like love. They're just feeling like kind of this dejection, like not happy, emotionally frustrated, unhappy. I was gonna say unease. I'm not quite sure. Lonely, feeling empty, feeling desperate. I mean, literally, just like, yeah, they're feeling a lot of like Billy Ray Cyrus, man, they've got an achy breaky heart right now, for sure. There's a lot of energy around that, around feeling just empty, not complete, bad choices, needing to make some, feeling like this need to reconcile. So I really do feel like they miss you. I want to pull a card from the Fairy Tale Oracle by Lucy Cavendish for some further insights. Okay, so do they miss you? The Frog Prince, intimacy. They miss the intimacy. They recognize, they're starting to become aware. It's like they're starting to their minds are starting to come online, and they're like, shit, I miss this. I miss the intimacy. I miss the connection. I miss the feeling of what it felt like to be intimate with someone. Intimacy, I wrote a blog about this on my Medium page if you ever want to see it. It's Medium, whatever. You can Google it and find it. I think I linked it somewhere too. Either way, it's the price of intimacy. Intimacy is not cheap. It doesn't come without a cost. You have to invest. You have to do some work for it. And they miss it. They miss that feeling of having somebody, looking into their eyes and seeing them and accepting them as they are. So, is there something that they want you to know? The Ten of Scepters. Three of Grails, interesting. And the Star in reverse. That's funny. The Three of Grails is, like the Three of Cups and so that's obviously we know what that can be leading to. So the Ten of Scepters, very interesting card. If you like redheads, then this is the card for you. But is definitely the energy of this card is about having somebody, their willpower, manifestation coming to pass. It's like they feel like they're trying to persevere. Really what they're wanting you to know is that they're trying to figure out what the hell they're doing with their lives. It's like they're in this space of of sacrifice and trying to grow, trying to master life skills. It's like things that they've struggled with in the past. They're really trying to grow. It's like they're in this space of taking responsibility. There's learning to self-empower. So it's no longer being so dependent on other people to make them feel alive or to make them take responsibility. So if you've ever been in a situation with your counterpart where you've had to hold them accountable in order for them to take responsibility, they want you to know that they're moving out of that energy where it's like they no longer need you or want you to hold them accountable. They're ready to start taking responsibility for themselves. So this Three of Grails card showing up is about, there's three people in the card. Very interesting. This is about some emotional growth. This is some abundance. There are things that, this is like a celebration card in the traditional tarot. It's graduations, weddings. It's just, of course, it's the summertime. July is like the biggest wedding month. So there could be just that they've been in a space of really celebrating and doing a lot of things. They're feeling so okay, they're feeling okay. That I don't get that they're feeling great. I don't feel like the energy is not like this, over the moon kind of energy. It feels like just they're kind of like, okay, I'm feeling like things are starting to happen. I'm starting to, again, with the emotional growth. They may be attending some, they may have gotten plugged into a spiritual community. They're working on themselves. That's what I'm getting, is that there's this energy of really working on themselves, and that's something to celebrate. They're feeling good about that, because this could be a person who just didn't for a long time work on themselves, who just kind of went flying by the seat of their pants and just did whatever. And it was like, then there were messes and things that needed to be cleaned up. And now they want you to know, they're really working on doing some things, and they're feeling good about what they've done. Maybe they've been in therapy for a while. Maybe they've been working with a coach or doing something, maybe even just, focusing physically, working on out in the gym, meditating, whatever. They're doing some work, and they're feeling good about it. So we have the Star in reverse, which is they want you to know that they're aware that they were not faithful, that they didn't honor they kind of broke some promises. They disappointed you. They also want you to know that they disappointed themselves. That's the message that's coming through. It's like they want you to know that, yes, they may be over here acting like everything's all, sunshine and unicorn farts or whatever, but they're like, I feel that too. I feel the disappointment. Then when they let you down, whatever it was, however they let you down. Let's say they let you down in not being honest, you're lacking integrity, whatever it was. They're like, but I also betrayed myself. Okay, if you're my twin flame and I betrayed you, then I also betrayed me. And not only even if you're not my twin flame, this is literally a message like Spirit wanted me to say, that even regardless of the connection, a person who is lacking integrity and who isn't honoring themselves or honoring other people they're also not honoring themselves. And so that's an important thing to know. What they want you to know is this Goldilocks energy, entitlement. They behaved the way that they behaved is because they felt entitled to it. They felt this sense of that they could do whatever the hell they want and there were going to be no consequences. They didn't think about the consequences. They didn't think about how it would impact you or other people. And that's why they behave that way. If you think about Goldilocks and the Three Bears, like literally like what level of fucking self-indulgent behavior, even though it's a fairy tale, that would allow somebody to like just walk into some random house and just help themselves to everything in there. Like what level? It's like some narcissistic kind of shit. And so they want you to know that they're aware of it, that they are very much aware that their behavior was unbecoming, and they caused themselves a lot of disappointment and betrayal as well. So what is holding them back right now? The Prince of Grails in reverse, the Nine of Knives, and the Queen of Skulls in reverse. I don't know if you guys like vampire shows, but I watched the entire, what is that thing called? It's the whole show, like every freaking season of the Vampire Diaries. And it was so bizarre. It was such a weird show in so many ways, but I liked it in also many ways because there was a lot of really cool things that happened, some really ridiculous stuff, but I just found it funny. I like the soundtrack and I'm listening to that right now in the background. And so I was like, oh, well, we'll use the Phantasmagoria cards too and go all along. However, I just want to say that, a lot of people get uncomfortable with these cards when I use vampires or things like that. I just want to be really clear that this is like shadow energy, or what one might consider dark energy, really is not anything to be fearful of. Okay, so just be conscious of that. Anyway, what is holding them back? We've got the Prince of Grails in reverse. This is someone who is like there's the card of somebody who's being, if you look at that, very nice expression. Someone who's not being honest. Someone who's not, it can have some, devious nature, or somebody who is not being, who still has some character flaws that need to be worked out. It could be somebody who's like, incredibly selfish, somebody who is, like I said, dishonest, somebody who's kind of corrupt right now, somebody who is has a tendency toward unfaithfulness, somebody who is just like I'm saying, like lacking character. The character that they need is not there. And I really get that they know it. They know. They recognize like they effed things up pretty bad in the past. They hurt you, they hurt themselves, they hurt other people, like whatever went down. And so what's holding them back right now is that they realize that they haven't done enough work. They're working on it and they're feeling good about it. They're feeling good about the work and the progress that they've made, but they're still recognizing their own tendency to be selfish and entitled. And so it's like what's keeping them back is that they're like, you know what? I know that I'm still kind of not, I haven't taken my act right pill yet. I need to get my shit together before I come back because I'm not going to hurt this person, myself, or other people again. So we have the Nine of Knives. What a part of what's holding them back is that they're trying to get their thoughts clear. They're not entirely clear about things yet. And trying to take control of their destiny, of themselves. They're really trying to face their own inner demons. They're trying to deal with this shit so that they can come forward in a way that they're whole and that they're in a space of fullness. They're like, I don't want to come back to you and drop another mess on your door. Like that was unfair. I was listening to Daniel Boone, LLE. If you have a chance, I love his videos. He's so freaking funny. But one of the things that he talked about in one of his videos earlier this week was that a king has to come to a queen as a king. Now this can go for divine masculine or divine feminines, but a royal, you wouldn't just walk up to like Buckingham Palace and just walk up to like Queen Elizabeth and be like, hey bro, what's up? You wouldn't come, you'd come prepared. You'd show up fucking prepared. You'd have your shit together, you'd have your work, you'd have studied the protocol. You would not just walk up to Queen Elizabeth or even to the princess or duchesses or whatever they are. Just any sort of way. You wouldn't come out, you would mind your P's and Q's, plain and simple. And what they're saying right now is that they're like, look, what's holding me back is that I approached you in a crazy way last time. Like here I was, like not approaching you with the way that you should have, that you deserve to be approached. I approached you like I was bringing you some, page energy or some knight energy, and what you needed was a king or a queen, and I was coming at you like, a pauper. And they realize that they're not quite there yet. They still got some work to do. So they're working on it. They're definitely working to try and make that happen. So we've got the Queen of Skulls in reverse, and so like another card of holding them back. It's like they just feel depleted right now. They feel like they've just like they're tapped out. Okay, it's like they're emotionally tapped out. They've been being this person, deceiving people, not being honest, trying to like cover your tracks. That shit's exhausting. I mean, I remember like I am the worst liar in the world. Like my parents would tell you this, like I can't freaking lie. Like I just can't do it. And I feel so guilty. It's just not something that works for me. I'm just like, it doesn't, I guess it's a blessing because it makes me it's forced me to be a really honest person. However, I just look at this and I think about people, like Shakespeare said, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. And it's like when you lie, if you're a pathological liar, unless you're, okay, sorry, I was going to say something that I probably shouldn't say. So I'm reversing that. That to be deceptive, to be dishonest, you have to remember what lie you told to who. You have to remember the lie that you told. You have to think about it, and then you spend your days in this like anxious state of like, am I gonna get caught? Is someone gonna find me out? Am I gonna be like, when is the other shoe gonna fall? Basically, is what happens. So you look at people like a lot of the celebrities who have recently been outed, like in the Me Too movement. A lot of them had that same experience where it finally, when the truth finally came out, a lot of them said, strangely, that they felt a sense of relief. That it was like, oh, this has been weighing on me for so long. So what's going on and what's holding them back right now is that this shit has worn them out. They're exhausted. This not being who they are meant to be and operating on these lower levels has just worn them out. They're freaking tired. They're depleted. They've got like, when it comes to like spirituality, they're like scraping the bottom of the pan and they don't have a whole lot to give. This can also be that there's still some tendencies toward manipulation, feeling like nothing is ever enough. That kind of like, I've used this analogy before, but like the hungry ghost, where that's like the mouth is really small and the belly's really big, and it's like no matter how much you feed it, you can't ever get full. And so that could be that part of what's holding them back right now too, is just this like trying to get their feet underneath them and get themselves stable. And then we have the Rose Elf, Revelations. So there are some truths that need to be exposed, that haven't been exposed, that need to come out. It's like they're not, the revelations are in this particular story, if I remember it correctly, the Rose Elf knew the secret. Like somebody tried to keep a secret, and then the Rose Elf was like, aha, but I know your secret, and kind of that energy. It's like that. So there's part of what's keeping them from coming forward, what's holding them back right now, is that energy of secrets. Like that they're not quite ready to face all of this manipulation, all of the game playing. They're working on it. But this is not something, I can tell you this as a therapist, that a former therapist, I don't do therapy anymore, but when I used to do therapy, one of the things that I would see with novice therapists all the time, I'd actually trained therapists for a number of years, And I would always see this tendency for people to want to go too far too fast. So you'd have like new therapists would bring, my neophyte therapist would bring in a client, and then they'd be like, that like the client would just spill their guts and tell them everything, and then they would never come back. And I'd be like, well, they went too far too fast. They couldn't handle all of that. It was too much to handle. You've got to take it slow. If they spill everything at once, they're gonna retreat. And that's what is happening with them. They're moving slowly because they have to move slowly. If you ripped, not you, the rhetorical you, but if a person were to rip away all of their illusions about themselves in one fell swoop, it could possibly make them retreat and not ever want to come forward again. And so it has to be something that they're peeling back the layers slowly. That's what's holding them back right now. So, do they want to reunite? We've got the Two of Scepters in reverse. So I had to look at that card. The artwork is so interesting. The Daughter of Grails. And the Two of Skulls. Interesting. So of course the Daughter of Grails, that's like the Queen of Cups. So what the Queen of Cups is like that's the Queen of Hearts, not the one, the off with your head person, not that Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts, like the love queen, the that energy, the big love. So we've got twos mirroring here. Which, of course, to me, whenever I see two people, two coming together, two become one. I think that was a Spice Girls song from like 1998. Y'all can go look that up and get that song stuck in your head. But the Two of Scepters in reverse is in the question, do they want to reunite? Is like they feel conflict about it. There's this, they want to, there's this piece of them, but it feels like anything that they do right now would be kind of impulsive and rash. It wouldn't be thoughtful. It would not thoughtful. It wouldn't be well thought out. So it's like they may want to and then come back, but they still need to get stable. And when they come forward, they need to come forward with a genuine offer. You don't want them, like D Boom said in his reading, you don't want them climbing up your freaking trellis and yelling at you on your balcony. Like you want them to come to you for real, like with a real offer. And it's better. It's better to stay separate and not united and not coming back together if they're not ready to come back together with honesty and integrity and in a divine way. So there's this sense of longing for you, but they're still in a space of trying to avoid responsibility. They're still trying to kind of sneak in the back door. It's that teenage energy where they're like, they want to sneak in your back door and like come over and have like the booty call, but they don't want to take responsibility and they don't want to like claim you in public. Like, no, man, that ain't gonna work. Like, we're not going to do that where we have this like secretive relationship where it's all like in the shadows and everything's like, covert and whatever. Like, nah, that ain't happening. So it's like they think about you, but they're not ready to come forward with like a full Queen of Cups offer, a full, you be my queen, I'll be your king. That's probably a song too. So it's like they see you this way. They see you as this queen energy. They see you kind of being very calm and reflective, and they see you as like, there's a sense of like mysteriousness. They see you as being very nurturing and healing. They see you as being very loving, and they really want you to they're like, I have all this high respect for you, and I of course I would want to come back to that, but I'm not ready. This is Queen of the Daughter of Grails. Is they're asking, there's like this, can you be patient? Can you be patient for me? You don't have to. Hell, we have free will. You can be like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go find myself a soulmate, and I'm gonna like live my life, and maybe next time, see you next lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to wait for them. You have free will. You have free choice here. I think that's super important to remember. Everybody has a choice. We have options. There are always choices. I know that's a hard thing to hear because a lot of times people will say like, well, I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. Doesn't mean that they're good choices. Doesn't mean that they're ideal or optimal choices, but there are choices. So do they want to reunite? There's this, again, this lack of, they're in a space of lacking balance. This Two of Skulls is like, it feels like there's this, like really like an upheaval is happening in their life. Like things are kind of falling apart and turning around, and there's a lot of energy that's shifting. They need to they need to see things from a different perspective. They're uncertain about what they want. So there's this piece where they're like, they see this and they see this like love offer, this queen energy that, you know, the divine queen, divine king kind of energy. And then they're seeing this kind of, they're still uncertain about it. They're just not quite sure what the hell they want to do. It's like, do I step up and become the person I'm meant to be, or do I not? And reunite, rites of passage. Look at that. So throughout the journey of Little Red Riding Hood, she started out as very naive, and I'm sure after the end she was like, damn, like a lot wiser. They're going through a rite of passage. This is a transformation phase where they're in right now. So to reunite is like, I get the sense that they think about it and they think about coming back together. They just know that they're not ready. They know that this and this is too present in them, and they still need to go through this rite of passage. They still have to grow. So what are their fears? Daughter of Knives, Six of Grails. Oh my God, you guys, I have to tell you this. This song right here. Oh my God, this just gave me goosebumps. I'm having a moment here, so you guys get to share with me on this, okay? My counterpart, when we parted ways, he said that this song always reminded him of me and our connection. And it's I Fall Apart by Post Malone. Wow. That just gave me all the feels. I got all the feels. I'm like Drake right now in my feelings. Sorry. I haven't heard that song. I've been able to avoid it this whole time. I'm hoping to keep it that way. But I just got in my feelings. I got in my feels. So, what are their fears? The daughter of Knives. This is like the Queen of Swords. It's like they feel like if they come toward you that that you might not want to come back together. There's that separation. It's like they feel like there's a piece of them that feels like maybe you have some hidden motives, that there's some like not clarity, or the lack of clarity that you may be experiencing. Wait, hold on a second. This is the Queen. Sorry, I said this was anyway, the Daughter of Knives. It's this, they wonder if they come towards you, if you're going to just be cruel and ruthless, and you're going to be like, well, you effed up and there's no chance for you, and like forget you kind of thing. They fear that even if they come to you with an offer, that you're just going to be like, nah, I'm good, bro, I'm good. And so there's that fear for them. Then they have this Six of Grails, which is a fear again about like that you are not going to be a space of emotional safety for them. That if they do come forward, that it might be, it's like what they want from you may not happen. That they may be, that there may be some instability that remains in the connection. This could be in the upright. The Six of Cups is about positive memories, nostalgia, looking back. This is like could be some negative memories, some not so great things. And their fear is taking action. The Chariot is forward movement. They are afraid to take action. They're paralyzed right now, guys. It's like they're in this space of like whether they want to come forward towards you. They're just afraid, and they're afraid to take that step forward. They're afraid to move towards you. The Goose Girl, theft. They're afraid so there's a couple of things, a couple of messages that came through with this. Is that the first one is that they are afraid that they know that they stole some things from you, okay? With their behavior. They weren't honest, if someone is not honest with you and someone doesn't give you the right to choose, if they come towards you and they give tell you something, but they're not telling you the entire truth. It's like they steal your autonomy. They steal your ability to make your choices freely. And they're aware of that. They're aware that they came to you with that kind of thief energy, that they stole your autonomy, they stole your energy, they took your love, and didn't really give a whole lot back. So they're aware of that. And again, I get the energy that they're like afraid of being punished. It's like, there are times where it's like my kiddos will do something and they'll be like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, why didn't you just tell me that happened? Like that you broke that, or that, spill happened. And they're like, I thought you were going to be mad at me. And so they don't come forward because they're afraid that I'm going to be upset with them. And I'm always like, just tell me the truth. That's going to be better. I really get like right now that they feel like they understand that they came with this kind of thief in the night energy, and like maybe they popped up into your life and, stole some things, your love, your energy, your peace. They siphoned into your, awesome sauce and then dipped out, and you're like, okay, cool. You just totally like stole 6 months of my life or whatever. And so they're kind of afraid to come forward and have you hold them accountable for that and reject them. So that's a big fear for them. What do they regret? The Seven of Cups in reverse. The Prince of Knives. The Daughter of Skulls. The Seven of Grails in reverse. This one looks like Medusa. And if you've ever heard the Medusa story, by the way, I'm just going to say this because it just popped up. Like, really take some time, because a lot of times we give people, like, people get a bad rap. Medusa has this, like, oh, she turns people to stone. And it's like, but people don't understand that, like, she became that way because some jealous goddess made her that way, cursed her. And so I like this, there's a quote that's like, the villains are just people whose stories haven't been told. And that's why I really liked that movie Maleficent that came out a few years back, because I felt like it gave a different perspective. Same with Wicked, the book and the stage show. I don't know why I'm saying this right now, but I'm saying, like, perhaps it's with relationship to our counterparts. Like, we can easily look at them and be like, yeah, well, he was a liar, or he did this, or she did that, and really look at it and vilify them and make them into really bad people because of their actions. But when we understand their story and the context, like, like Medusa turned people to stone, but Medusa didn't become Medusa just on her own. She became that way because of shit that happened to her, and she didn't really she was a victim too, is what I'm saying. And so have some compassion. So what do they regret? And they regret that they were dishonest. They regret that they didn't, like, that they gave into their addictions, like their old behaviors. I don't mean addictions necessarily in substance. Behaviors can be addictive too. Looking for external validation, things like that. That can all be an addiction. This is like that they regret that they embarrassed themselves. They really do. Like, I think a part of why a lot of them aren't coming forward is just because they feel embarrassed. They feel embarrassed. You saw them, the real them. And that's not something they're accustomed to. And they feel freaking embarrassed. They're like, the illusion came down. And whenever people's, like, illusions come down and they have to face themselves, if they're not quite ready, that can be a lot to handle. And so it's just something that they need to kind of, they need to do their own work around. So what else do they regret? This Prince of Knives. This is that they didn't see the bigger picture. Okay, it's like I get from this one, it's like that they didn't see the bigger picture. They didn't look at things fully. They didn't have the self-assurance to take the risks that they needed to take. It's like if they had been able to think for themselves instead of caving into, like, what other people told them that they should do, or what other people wanted for them, if they had the self-confidence and the self-assurance to stand in their own truth, they never would have bailed. They would have they would have done what was right for them instead of trying to make everybody else happy. And they recognize that and they regret it. They're like, damn, that was not a good choice. I'm feeling like I should have done things differently. And had I been a stronger person, had I been more, had more consciousness around it, I would have done things differently. So then we have the Daughter of Skulls. Their final regret in this reading is this that they didn't bring, that this situation had so much potential and they cut it off. There was freedom, there was creativity, there was energy, there was strength, there was abundance, there was generosity, there was beauty, there was sensuality, there was benevolence, there was this like, you know, bow chicka wow wow sexual kind of energy. It was fucking perfect. And they bailed because they got scared, because they didn't have what it takes to stand. They regret it. And they regret, look, gifts. They recognize that this was a gift. You'll know my anal retentiveness is kicking up right now. OCD. I don't really have OCD, so I need to stop saying that because it could be felt as a mockery to people who do. Okay. They recognize that this was a gift. Your presence, your offering, you showing up in their life was a freaking gift to them, and they messed up. And they recognize it. They realize it. There is like no two ways about it. They're looking at the situation and they're like, man, like, you know, epic fail party of one, your table's now ready. That's how they feel. And I really do get that's why a lot of them aren't coming forward, because they just feel ashamed. They feel embarrassed. They feel like that they should have done things differently and they didn't. And now they're like, well, how do I come back to somebody that was like literally like my dream come true, that I totally shit all over, and then say, oops, my bad. Can I have another chance? That's a lot of what they're feeling. So anywho, I hope that this reading resonated. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, if you want to book a private reading, you can do so by clicking the cover photo for my channel, or you can click the, just look in the description box. So I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for sharing my little moment with me. I appreciate it. And I love you all so much. Bye-bye.